When it comes to putting up houses and structures, we're all familiar with the traditional means and materials used. But with the advancement of technologies, better alternatives become available to us. And one of these is the SRC Panel System. Lightweight and economical, steel-reinforced concrete or SRC is a modern building material alternative to concrete hollow blocks. With its special properties and underlying technology, SRC paves the way to a new kind of building construction material, faster, more economical, and allows for a much safer structure.
Our product, the SRC Panel System, is a construction system wherein you use a steel mesh welded together and has a EPS core. It is a Korean and Italian technology tweaked for Philippine use. We believe that this system is a superior alternative to hollow blocks.
We have this interlink system which are made integrated into a construction material because of this cement plaster.
What happens is we bring in the steel wire rods and then we stretch it. So we make it thinner. It becomes a stronger frame. From 35,000 PSI, it becomes over 100,000 PSI. We then make it into wire mesh frames which sandwiches the EPS core. We then bring in the EPS beads which we expand and make into block. We then cut these into specified thicknesses. We sandwich both the steel frames as well as EPS core and make it into the panel system itself. They are then injected with steel wires and welded together to make it very structurally sound product.
SRC boards provides tensile and compressive strength. This quality can be attributed to its EPS core. It separates and stabilizes the boards whenever there is compression, torsion, or bending, giving the material superior seismic and wind resistance.
It's very structurally sound, 3 times stronger than the traditional hollow block. It is also lighter, it's about 30% lighter.
The less weight your structure has, the more resistant it is to earthquake load. This is the contribution of the SRC panel to the technology of earthquake-resistant design. As to wind does not come from one direction only, it comes from all other directions. If it comes from this direction, it is this wire mesh system that resists the wind. Because of this concrete plaster system, it has sufficient mass to resist the strength of wind. The polystyrene core has a unique feature of being applied with a fire retardant compound. This was also tested at the UP Chemical Engineering Laboratory. It was established that it has a fire resistance about 2 to 3 hours. It should have the ability to evacuate people instead of being totally destroyed.
And that is not all. Aside from these qualities, the core also functions as thermal and acoustic insulation.
When we talk about thermal and acoustic insulation, the core has the properties to prevent heat loss.
The fire retardant EPS core acts as an insulator. Imagine yourself living inside a cooler which retains the coolness of the temperature inside. At the same time, it blocks the heat coming from the outside.
The acceptability of this material will depend on how much we educate our builders, architects, designers as to the properties in this material. Because basically when you look at it without knowledge on the materials, you really say that the CHB unit is stronger than this one. Still a lack of education because once you have this concrete plaster attached to this material becomes twice as strong as concrete hollow blocks. Ordinary concrete hollow blocks has design stresses of about 100 to 200 PSI, whereas this one you can have stresses of about 700 to 1000 PSI.
For contractors and developers, the panel system is a structurally stronger structure than one that uses hollow blocks. You can go as high as 3 floors without using the traditional posts and beams. For buildings, you can add additional floors because the panel systems are about 30% lighter than the traditional hollow blocks. You can increase the number of floors of your typical condominium or apartment building. To the homeowners, number one, again, of course, it all boils down to cost. The panel systems, because it's faster to build, it can save the homeowner up to 30% of their construction cost, as well as the construction time to build. And finally, it's more flexible than the traditional hollow blocks. With our panel system, you can bend it, you can make it into stairs, you can use it for your ceiling or for your floor or for your typical walls. You can use it for basically any type of structure or design that you want.
Most of the users of this panel are builders that are exposed to high technology, like builders of high-rise condominiums, high-rise building units, because they know the value of the material as to the reduction of weight.
Several of the buildings that you'll see in the Makati CBD, BGC, Ortigas district uses our product. We also have schools, the Assumption, Xavier, Brent School. used our panel systems. Also for residential projects, a lot of the exclusive villages, the new homes being built are using our panel system product. The typical size of our product is 4 feet by 8 feet or 4 feet by 10 feet, but this can be customized based on your needs and wants.
The technologies of today have already brought us numerous innovations. They've opened up a lot of potential waiting to be utilized and explored. The SRC Panel Systems is one of those, allowing builders and homeowners to build superior structures in a way that is better and faster. In a recent study, the Philippines was identified as one of the top 12 nations that are most susceptible to climate change, which means we've got to think more about the safety and protection of our properties and families. We're here in Marikina at the site of Project Smart Home, and we're here to talk with a company that offers a safer, faster, and smarter solution to building structures, SRC Panel Systems. The steel-reinforced concrete, or the SRC panel system, is a modern building material as compared to concrete hollow blocks. In our last season, we took a tour around its factory and learned about the product's properties. This time, we'll take an even closer look as we witness the step-by-step process in building using the SRC panels. So we're here at the very busy construction site of Project Smart Home in Marikina. And Rodney, behind us, they're installing the wall systems. Could you tell us about it?
This is the SRC panel system. It is a superior technology to the traditional hollow block system.
Okay, hollow block I'm familiar with. But behind me, I see styrofoam and wire meshing. Could you tell us about it? What are the advantages and the differences to traditional hollow block?
Well, first of all, the styro acts as an insulator.
Okay.
So for the homeowners, think of yourself living in an icebox,
right,
where it's cool inside and it also blocks the heat from coming in.
Right.
Now the wire mesh makes it much stronger than the traditional hollow blocks.
I see.
So the wire mesh stuck together and sprayed with cement will make the structure up to 3 times stronger than the traditional hollow block.
I see the advantages to a resident. You get better sound insulation, you get better temperature insulation, and it's stronger too. What's the advantage for a contractor?
For a contractor is, of course, the speed of construction. Instead of laying down hollow blocks one by one, with our SRC panel system, you can just install the walls one by one. After you install the walls, you just spray it with cement, and then you're done. So it can save you about 20 to 30% from your construction. 20 to 30% faster with better sound, temperature insulation, and better strength. I've got to see it being installed. Can I go do that? That would be great. All right. Similar to the traditional way of site preparation, the construction will start with excavation. The foundation and the grade beams will then be laid out. And when all of these are ready, the SRC panels can already be installed.
We make sure that the dowels are there, and then the panels are now installed. We make sure the dowels are between the polystyrene and the wire mesh.
So engineer, how do we keep everything intact and connected?
Between the footing and the wall panels, we tighten the dowels using GI tie wires. Between panels, we use the flat mesh. For the openings of doors and windows, we use the U-mesh. For corners, we use the angle mesh.
Now, how do you make sure everything is aligned properly?
To make sure that the panels are vertically and horizontally aligned, we use rigging bars or wood as shoring.
Now that the structures are all intact and connected, the electrical and plumbing rough-ins can now be installed. Upon its completion, we then proceed to the next step, plastering. First, apply a thin plaster that will only cover the polystyrene. Let this layer set and dry overnight. Afterwards, apply the next layer that will now cover the wire mesh. Once this dries, the third and final layer can already be applied. This can be finished with either a smooth or rough surface, depending on the homeowner's requirement.
Plastering can be done manually or using the spray bucket.
Manually, ibig sabihin may tao talaga na
Yes, yung
gumagana.
pinapalitada siya.
Right. And spray bucket is like...
Yes.
So taking a look at this, it's obvious to me that it's very lightweight. What's the advantage when you're building a multi-story structure?
You reduce the sizes of your structural members. You do away with specialized material and carrying the panel to the other floors. One person can carry one panel.
Kasi yung wall na yung panel na ganyang kalaki, ilang hollow blocks yan na hindi binuhat. Eh yung isang ganyan kayang-kaya na ng
Isang tao.
So thank you very much, Engineer Nick, for telling us all about the installation of SRC Panel Systems.
The SRC panel system can go as high as 3 floors without the use of beams and columns, allowing for much more freedom when it comes to the house's design and layout without compromising the structure's strength and durability.
For a project like ours, Project Smart Home, why is going with SRC Panel Systems a good choice?
Well, first of all, we are in Marikina, which is, as you all know, which is a very typhoon-prone area.
Yeah.
So a lot of winds and storms go through this area. The strength of our product will make your home a lot stronger than the traditional way of doing things. And in addition, especially now it's the rainy season, speed is much more important for the contractors. So the speed of building your structure is equally important as the strength of the structure.
Yeah, you really have to take advantage of sunny, great days like
Yes,
today. And with
correct.
SRC Panel Systems, you get more built in a day like this.
Yes.
So Rodney, for those who got really curious about your product, where can they get it?
The easiest way is to go to our website, srcpanel.com. From there, they'll see that our product is stronger, faster, and more economical.
So thank you very much, Rodney, for telling us all about SRC Panel Systems and guesting on the show.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Building one's own home, which is probably one of the biggest investment in one's lifetime, will always have its risks. But with products like the SRC panel system, we now see that there are better alternatives and choices, and that we can always choose to build smarter and better.